Okay.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. We'll need a motion to adopt the agenda.
Motion to adopt the agenda as is.
Ms. Belinsky,
Second.
Ms. McConkey seconds. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. All right, the adoption of the minutes from the last meeting. Do you hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Mr. McConkey,
Second.
second, Ms. Belinsky. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. And moving on, let's see here.
Mission statement.
Wait a minute, I'm getting there. It's not on here, is it?
It was after the Pledge of Allegiance.
The mission statement, we always read this at every board meeting. The Calvert County Board of Education ensures excellence in education for our students through vigilant oversight, sound policies, and meaningful community engagement. All right.
Eagle Scout.
Eagle Scout proclamations.
Yes, I have the resolutions that I would like to put up for a vote. We have two new Eagle Scouts, and please excuse me if I do mispronounce the names, but the first is Alexander Jarneau. It's an N-O-T, I assume it's Jarneau. And Alexander has distinguished himself among the Boy Scouts of America by being elevated to Eagle Scout. He has attained the rank of Eagle by earning 23 merit badges. His community service project was to rebuild a fence, plant trees, and clean up a portion of the cemetery there at St. John Vianney Catholic Church. He has held a variety of leadership positions, including senior patrol leader, bugler, instructor, and he is a member of the Order of the Arrow. He is a graduate of Huntingtown High School, where he was a member of the Marching Hurricanes and received numerous awards. Therefore, be it resolved that the members of the Board of Education of Calvert County join the family, friends, and members of Boy Scout Troop 430 in commending Alexander upon the occasion of his attainment of Eagle Scout, and be it further resolved that the school board members wish him every success in achieving his personal and professional goals. So congratulations. Do I have a
You have a
second?
motion? Is there a second?
Second?
Dwyer seconds. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. You have a second one?
Yes, a second Boy Scout who has retained Eagle is Skylar Ziegel. I hope that's how you pronounce it. Skylar attained the rank of Eagle by earning 22 merit badges. His community service project was to build a memorial garden outside of the Burnett Calvert Hospice House. He has held a variety of leadership positions, including senior patrol leader, trainer, scribe, and chaplain's assistant. He's currently a junior at Huntingtown High School, where he's a member of the Marching Hurricanes, the Stock Market Club, and he has received the Superintendent's Award for having straight A's. Therefore, as the same as this past resolution, we wish him every success in attaining his personal and professional goals.
And is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Dwyer, second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Next, we have public comment. Do we have anyone signed up?
Yes, first is Debbie Ross.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Dr. Carroll, members of the board, Ms. Highsmith. I'm here today to tell you that I believe things are still going fairly well. We exchanged CEA and CCPS exchanged proposals on Monday, November 18th, and we will have a week of what I call marathon negotiations the week of December 9th. The ideal situation would be we would have a ratified contract before Christmas. And that would be just almost unheard of anymore. We're also working with CCPS on the new observation and evaluation instrument. And as I'm sure you know, it's up and it's down and it's new. Teachers are struggling because it's new, but they're working very, very hard. And we are trying as best we know how, Ms. Highsmith, to make it fair, to make it a fair and reasonable instrument so our teachers will continue to provide the great education that they always have, that they historically have for our students. So that's what we've been doing. Looking forward to great things. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there other,
Is there one more speaker, Jill Richmond? Thank you. My name is Jill Richmond. How sad that I am here today repeating the same words I said years ago. Calvert County Public School District, again, does not have a teacher for its visually impaired students. Calvert County is again denying its visually impaired students the free and appropriate education to which they are entitled by federal law. These visually impaired students are not receiving Braille instruction and/or other low vision services they may need to be successful students. There is a nationwide shortage of teachers for the visually impaired. However, the real reason that Calvert County has not hired a vision teacher is because Calvert County is not advertising. Calvert County personnel did not attend a recent national education job fair. Calvert County has not contacted the major university graduate programs to inquire if they have teachers looking for employment. Calvert County is not offering a signing bonus, and most importantly, Calvert County has not posted the vacancy announcement on its own website. While researching to see if Calvert County had done any advertising to fill this vacancy, I received an email from Mr. Sproul of the Education America Network. He said, and I quote, "There should be no reason for them not to post their ad with us. They are part of a special project we initiated a few years ago, which gives invited schools free job postings, so advertising with us would not cost anything." Although surrounding counties have a few vacancies, all have vision teachers on staff. At the start of this school year, St. Mary's County hired a new vision teacher, which they were able to do even with a nationwide shortage. 11 years ago, I contacted every American university offering a graduate special education program for teachers of the visually impaired. I found graduates looking for full-time employment, willing to move to Maryland, and interested in being interviewed. A teacher was hired. She was fantastic. It was because of her that my son is now a successful third-year college student. All blind, visually impaired, and low-vision students currently attending Calvert schools deserve the same education my son received, whether or not they have a parent willing to advocate for them and speak out. I now find myself in the same position, contacting graduate programs searching for potential vision teachers. I have learned so far that Portland State University has 7 teachers graduating this coming spring, still seeking employment. North Carolina University will also have teachers graduating soon. I hope I can again get Calvert County to interview and hire. How sad that a parent is doing this. Isn't there an office of personnel staffed with people whose salaries are funded by taxpayer dollars? In 2002, we went through a long due process hearing. It was established that special education law had been violated. The Calvert County school system violated federal law when it failed to provide a blind student with a certified vision teacher, the state administrative law judge ruled. In his August 2002 decision, Judge William Hertzing found that without a teacher trained in Braille, my son was not learning and was denied a free and appropriate education. The school district's inability to find a vision teacher amid a nationwide shortage did not excuse it, Judge Hertzing ruled, although Calvert County had made no effort to hire a vision teacher. Under this judge's ruling, the district was required to hire a teacher for the visually impaired and did so months later due to constant pressure from the media and myself. It is very disheartening that Calvert County is again choosing to not educate its blind students. These visually impaired students are not receiving the appropriate education to which they are entitled by federal law under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. I'm open to all questions. Thank you.
thank you very much. As you know, we don't respond, but you'll hear from us. Anyone else?
No, sir, that's all.
Thank you. The next report from the superintendent.
Good afternoon. Very happy to be here this afternoon to make some important announcements concerning our personnel. There are 2 important people that are in our audience today. First is Janet Stephenson, appointed by a telephone poll at an earlier date as supervisor of special education, and I'm asking the board to reaffirm their decision today. Janet, if you could stand up, please.
Do you want to take action at this time or later when personnel items?
Well, we're going to do, I'm just asking you to reaffirm your poll vote. That's all.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
Make a motion.
Ms. McConkey?
Second.
Ms. Malinsky moves second. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
Janet is joining us from Charles County Public Schools. She has recently moved to Calvert County, and she wants to give back to the Calvert County community. Her prior experience includes from 1991 to 2000, special education teacher in Charles County Public Schools. From 2000 to 2002, she was a vice principal, and from 2002 to 2013, a special education coordinator in Charles County Public Schools. So we're very fortunate to have Janet join us. Thank you very much, and
Welcome
welcome
to
to
Calvert
Calvert County.
Welcome, thank you.
The second important appointment is Mr. Craig Jewett. He too was appointed by telephone poll earlier as the vice principal at Mill Creek Middle School, and I'm asking the board to reaffirm your decision today.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion.
Mr. McConkey moves.
Second.
Mr. Lindsay seconds. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
Mr. Jewett was hired in Calvert County as an instructional assistant in 1999. He became a special education teacher in 2000 for Southern Middle School. In 2004, moved to Mill Creek Middle School. Then in 2005, moved to Patuxent High, all as a special education teacher. In 2013, he was a dean for Mill Creek Middle, and now has gone on to be the vice principal at Mill Creek Middle. So welcome, and thank you very much for all your service. And that concludes the superintendent report.
Next, we're down to financials, general funds. Good afternoon. I didn't know we had a blind teacher. I thought we had some.
For the unrestricted report, the month-to-date expenditures total $16.5 million, year-to-date expenditures total $47.9 million, and encumbrances and commitments total $131.7 million for a total year-to-date expenditures and commitments of of $179.6 million. Month-to-date revenues received total $10 million, and year-to-date revenues received total $48.6 million. Are there any questions regarding the general funds?
Just, what's the state of the affairs? Does it look reasonable? Are there any new things in, or is there any problem areas there?
Well, we have a budget adjustment proposed for you with respect to the reorganization and salary adjustments. One area that you asked about, Ms. Belinsky, is under fixed charges, and that is for Social Security and health insurance. If you look at those two lines, they appear to be over right now. The reason why that is because we do a reclassification of costs associated for the grants in the December to January timeframe. So you should see that coming back down at that time.
Okay, so that's going to, when you say grants, then that's most with the restricted
Yes,
funds?
that's correct.
Okay, and that is people that are currently being charged to that grant?
That's correct. So those costs during the course of the fiscal year get pushed through the unrestricted fund, and then we do a reclassification of those associated costs out to the restricted funds.
It's not any kind of indication of a budgetary problem?
That's correct.
Nothing out of line.
Correct. Okay. Moving on to the energy update. The general fund expenditure percentage of budget committed is at 92%. Electricity, total expenses for the month were at $371,000, and year-to-date we're at $864,000. And Ms. Walensky, as you requested, we did add the budget line on there for you.
That's an important piece of information, I think, that we need to see, you know, and you could see that the improvement that we've had since 2010, or actually 2011, actually is when it came up. And, we just have to keep our eye on that bar to see if we're going to stay under it.
We've been very fortunate the last two winters have been
Yes.
fairly mild, so that certainly assisted in recognizing some of those budgetary savings.
Right.
For heating oil, total expenses for the month were $9,508. Year-to-date were $24,688. For propane gas, total expenses year-to-date were $942. Water and sewers, total expenses year-to-date were $59,693. Telephone costs for the month were $24,849, and year-to-date were $65,569. For school bus fuel, cumulative year-to-date, we've expensed $527,000. As of the last fuel call, the price was at $3.79, so it's dropped just a little bit. Bus contractors, which includes the fuel, year-to-date, we've expended $3.1 million.
Okay, so back on the heating oil. What led us to drop the budget from last year? I'm trying to remember. Was it the price? Or was it because we had quite a mild winter last year. I was just trying to remember why I think we took 100,000, it was $1.1 million last year. Or maybe, yeah, about $1.1 million, and now we're down to $1 million. I'm trying to remember if we set ourselves up for a problem.
I'd have to go back and look at last year's
Yeah.
budget as well. I don't recall the specifics of it.
This is a line item that we'll have to keep our eye on.
Yes. Moving on to the restricted funds. No new programs. For federal, we've expended year-to-date $1.5 million, and we have encumbrances out there of $3.2 million. For other programs, we've expended $301,000 and have encumbrances of $431,000. State programs, we've expended $302,000 and encumbrances of $1.1 million. Any questions? Moving on to capital projects. Under Calvert High School, we have had payments on prior year encumbrances totaling $1.1 million and current expenditures of $2,931. For Northern High School replacement A&E planning on prior year encumbrances, we've expensed $10,270. For other projects, Appeal Elementary roof replacement on prior year encumbrances, we've expensed $48,867 on current year expenditures of $21,510. For Northern Middle School, we've expensed $2,280. Plum Point Elementary roof replacement, $42,300. Are there any questions regarding capital projects? Moving on to cafeteria funds. We have two reports today for cafeteria funds, one for year-end for fiscal 2013 and one for the first 2 months of fiscal 2014. 2013, please.
Okay.
Thank you. We had an opening balance at the beginning of the fiscal year of $1.7 million, and we ended the year at $1.8 million. That's showing a profit of $103,000. However, that's because we had some reclassifications that needed to take place in fiscal year 2013 that really should have been taken place in 2012, and that was a health insurance adjustment and a $44,000 FEMA adjustment. The FEMA adjustment was recognized and deposited in full to the unrestricted fund. However, it should have been split with a portion recognized under food services.
Does that mean, what did FEMA reimburse us for?
This was for Hurricane Sandy.
So we fed people for 44?
No, these were food losses.
Oh, we get to make a claim for
Yes,
food
ma'am.
losses.
Yes.
That's interesting.
We also had to have people come in and clean out the freezers before we started schools back up because if you recall, they were out all weekend and then 2 days. So we had to, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Irene, or it was Hurricane Irene, I think.
It may have been. It was one of them.
Yeah.
I apologize.
And so we make a claim and then they pay us
A portion of it.
A portion of that. $44,000.
But we're in the black together, Jerry.
Yes, we have $1.8 million as of the end of fiscal 2013.
That's where we want it.
Yes.
There's a number we're supposed to not go below in that?
You want to maintain 3 months operating expenditures. So you don't want to go below that, and you don't want to go too far above that either.
And on one of the schedules that you sent me, there was over $200,000 in donated commodities.
Yes.
Can you explain what that is and how it's valued? Is that real cash flow or is that
That
just
is
an
not real cash
accounting?
flow.
Okay.
Those are commodities. Those are USDA commodities that are provided to us. We actually have to go and send a truck and get those commodities picked up. So it's actually food that's being provided to us.
And so this is a balance sheet issue that we record $200,000 of income.
Yes, we need to recognize that income coming in and expense going out. The federal government requires us to do that.
And I think you made a note that the previous year did have it in or didn't have it in. There was a disconnect between.
There was a disconnect, so
Okay.
I've spoken to the Food Services Department to make sure that
Please.
these statements for the month of June, that's where those adjustments are made, that they will be reflective and tied back to the audited financial statements. They're accustomed to recognizing and reporting on a budgetary basis, so they're not recognizing that number.
Just make sure they're both comparable. I don't care which way you go.
I absolutely agree with you.
Okay.
We're not getting much commodities now, are we?
About $200,000.
That's the total.
That's
Yes.
It used to be a lot more than that.
Oh,
really.
really?
Way back, yeah.
Is this like cheese? I mean, what
It can
is
be
it?
cheese,
Whatever they
chicken,
have.
sometimes fruit.
Whatever they have, like
Whatever they
surplus.
have. Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it means that there's good utilization of anything that
Yeah.
comes their way, right?
Okay, moving on to 2014. We had an opening balance of the $1.8 million, income for the month of August and September of $762,000, expenditures $874,000, and an end-of-month balance of just shy of $1.7 million. It's fairly typical in the first 2 months of the school year that we recognize a little bit of a deficit, but we end up catching up.
That's our biggest expenditure, right? I think because he's 800,000 is a lot of money. Yeah. Do you know? I guess we'll hear this from the CAF when he does his presentation. But is there? I just wondered if the prices have gone up substantially in
The prices
this
are
new year.
continuing to go up, and of course you've got the effects of the Healthy, Hungry, Free Kids Act in there as well. So as a result of putting that in place, you have to have certain foods in place. So that's assisting in driving the costs. Unfortunately, it also appears to be assisting in driving some of the interest down from the students.
Yes, we did have like what did you calculate, like an 8% drop in participation?
Yes. Now, of course, a portion of that is as a result of the 2 waiver days last fiscal year as
Yeah.
well.
But I mean, we also have to look at how many chose a la carte
Yes.
type of foods versus the meals.
That's assisting in carrying the cost. Okay.
Okay,
Moving on to 2 budget adjustments for your approval.
okay.
The first before you is a request to reallocate $84,857 from the Board of Education legal account to the superintendent's legal account for your approval.
Motion to accept.
Motion to approve?
Ms. Blinsky.
Second.
Second, Mr. McConkey. Any discussion? Questions?
This is the amount that is been identified through contract? Do we know? I don't
Yes.
remember. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So this is just that's where that number comes from?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other discussion? If not, I'll put the question. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
And the second budget adjustment before you is recommended the Board of Education approve all of these lines, reorganization of staffing, and that this would actually have to be forwarded to the Board of County Commissioners because it is a categorical change.
Are they aware it's coming down to?
I have not had a conversation with them. Ms. Highsmith?
No, I have not.
Okay.
Well, my question is this purely, or have we changed, does this reallocating of dollars attempt to put, like, we used to have people split between our different categories there. Have we made a change to where we just put one person, like, instead of half, that put them back as whole? Or does that not change any of that?
It has changed for some, but not for all. For example, Miss Ruth is split between student services and health services because she oversees both areas.
But it's staying that way, is that
That
correct?
is staying that way. However, she was split amongst general administration and student services and health services. So now she's only going to be over student services and health services.
Okay. No more questions?
Any other discussion?
Just a question about when this is presented to the Board of County Commissioners, is this the format it will be presented in? They'll see the same thing we've seen?
Typically what I do is I send in this letter and then I'll prepare a cover letter for Ms. Highsmith, just with one paragraph describing the attached.
Move we approve the budget adjustment request?
Mr. McGuire moves, Mr. Polinsky seconds. Any further discussion? This is not typical, is it? This is quite a,
This is quite a detailed
Extensive.
budget adjustment, yes.
Well, we had quite a detailed reorganization.
yes, we did. Any other discussion? If not, I'll put the question. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. George, are you ready for the construction report?
Yes, I am.
Good.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'll begin with the construction report with Calvert High School. As you can see, it's beginning to look like a building over there now. We begin to
Looking real
get rid
good.
of all of the debris in the mason's pile.
What percentage are you? How much?
We're at 94% if I just go by what was invoiced last month. So we're a little bit beyond that now. So we're actually we're pretty much into the finish stages now.
When are you going to move in? When are you moving in?
Well, we can have most of the building here in January to begin to furnish, so on and so forth. We'll kind of work with the principal over there as to just how she wants to see staff and so on and so forth move into those spaces. Some spaces or some folks won't move into the facility in January, February, like we're going to keep art where art is because we're over in the Career Center and there's stuff there and she's into program and
Sure.
moving kilns and stuff. That's too disruptive. That all can happen in the summer. And the same with the CTE science program. They're over in the Career Center, so we'll leave them there to finish out the year. But I know that the music department is extremely excited to move into their new location out of the CTE room. So she may beat the principal over there. So nonetheless, those are the kinds of things we'll let them sort of iron it out and kind of work it out on their own.
Well, it's all undercover now, so it can go, right?
Oh, yes.
Nothing's going to stop anything.
Yeah, we're in pretty good shape over there, quite frankly. And as it closed in, you began to realize how much larger it is. We've all become accustomed to phase one over there, and they're going to have a lot of room to spread their wings once we take the partition downstairs. So
Very good.
they'll be rather delighted with that. Also, just a quick reminder I have on the work in progress thing here is we do have a dedication scheduled for the 30th of the new year. So we'll be working with staff over there at the school to line that up. Northern High School, the planning is moving along very nicely. We have taken the ed spec, or the written building, if you will, and created drawings, which we now can begin to show you and show the staff at the school and begin to have conversations with staff and begin to vet the planning and the design. I will share with you that we're going to present to the county commissioners just a quick snapshot of where we are as a courtesy, because we are asking the county commissioners to give us a letter of support for the capital improvement plan that we have before the state. So this will give them an idea of just where we are, so on and so forth. And then what I'd like to also do is ask if you're interested, and I'm sure you would be, possibly in December here at a work session or so, and we'll work that out. We don't have to get into that detail today, where I'll have the design team down here to at least show you where we are and what we're thinking. And it'll also afford you the ability to ask them questions and give you an idea where we are. Pardon me?
You're in design development now.
We're about to venture into that tomorrow. That's our kickoff for design development.
Great, you
So,
move.
we've got the SDs to the point where we're okay, and the state says go ahead and send them in. We need to do that because we are on a crunch to make sure we keep pace with the CIP.
So if you come in December, will you have things for us to look at?
Oh, yeah.
Pictures and plans and?
Mhm. You'll see then what we're going to take up to the staff and let them see and let them vet about. So,
Excellent.
because in there, they also begin to place furnishings, not that they have any idea maybe how a particular instructor is into it, but they may see something that, no, we don't want to do that. Now, some classrooms are cookie cutters when you get down to it, but the specialized locations obviously have quite a bit of dialogue that occurs there. So I'll arrange that through Ms. Highsmith and we'll get it lined up. And we have here, just so you can see, thank you, Ms. Maxey, I forgot that I had asked her to put this up here so at least we could show you something. This is sort of what this facility is going to take shape as. To the top section there where you see it's in white, proposed Northern High School, you'll notice it's sitting beside the dotted lines there in the middle of what I call the bat wing of the existing Northern High School. What is nice about this particular planning is we actually can create the entire facility as far as in terms of classroom spaces, administrative spaces, cafeteria, gymnasium, and everything without disrupting the school. We won't have to move them like we did in an interim, so on and so forth, that we did at Calvert High School. So that way, it's a much cleaner project. When we get into the latter phases, when we're talking about the parking and also the addition that will occur to the Harrison Center, that gets a little bit trickier. But nonetheless, I think in terms of instruction and an ease of move and the least disruption to instruction, this is going to lend itself to a very easy project. And because we can build it in this manner without phasing the actual building itself, it will probably finish out anywhere between 26 and 28 months. So that's an escalated time frame in terms of the project for us. So with the latter phases, we'll have to sequence in summers, so on and so forth. That's why we begin to drag out to 40 months. So at any rate, that's what we're sort of looking at in terms of what
What's
it
the
would
total
look like.
cost?
Well, we're looking, the entire project right now is submitted in the CIP is $67 million. Now that's A&E, that's other consultant costs that we would have in there. That's FF&E, which are your furnishings and equipment, and then of course the building cost itself.
That's a good price.
I think we'll do very well. I look for it to come in under budget.
Their high school's being built out there, that's
100
80,
million.
90, $100 million.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Oh, yes, and
Charles
it
County-
depends on their scope as to what
Yeah,
they're doing.
Charles County is a lot, over 100,000.
Yeah,
Over
plus
100
it's a
million.
larger rated capacity facility
yeah.
also.
It's a big school.
Yeah.
Now, did we always have an addition onto the Mary Harrison?
If you maybe remember the feasibility study, there is program that needs to be part of the Harrison Center. And when we were looking at this originally, the addition was sort of attached to the Harrison Center. So all that would have occurred within the new construction. In this particular plan, those elements, we don't want to put them into the building across the way from the Harrison Center. It doesn't work. You know, we're looking for another black box and some
Oh,
features
okay,
like
so
that. It makes more sense to attach it to the Harrison Center. So that's where
It
they
doesn't
have
add
it
to the
paid.
budget.
Pardon me?
It was already, that
Oh,
space
yes.
was already always included in it.
Correct.
Can it be stubbed off so you can add if we need to? 'Cause-
Yes. Yes. We have the ability to. The core is centered around 1,500.
Okay.
And there's a percentage there that you can add and increase. The other portion of this is if you're just getting into classrooms, it's easy street. Why do I say that? It's geothermal. So if we add additional square footage in there and it just entails
No
classroom
problem.
spaces, really it's a couple of additional wells out there, manifold it, and we're off to the races. I don't mean to oversimplify it, but quite
No, that's
frankly,
good
it
forward
lends
thinking,
itself
though,
to.
it really is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the new high school over here is the same way. There's an addition that can go on to that.
Is
'Cause
the
we're gonna
football
grow.
field going to be affected at all?
We're back
Yeah.
at Northern?
Yeah.
In
So,
a little bit, yes. Now, the track and stuff will stay the same. It's going to get new lighting. It's actually a separate line item in the CIP, but
Okay.
it's all interconnected there. I would imagine when push comes to shove, the commissioners will just add that piece to our total funding and make it one project. But the bleachers and that type of thing, they actually were refurbished a couple of years ago,
Okay.
and they're in pretty good shape. So, but there will be some improvements. They're going to get a new
I know
press
there's
box. and-
bleachers on this side. It'd be
Well,
nice if
they've
they
always-
added some more, because there's not enough room for everybody to sit down.
There's always the ability to add to the bleacher system. It is not part of the project, but that could always occur at some point
Maybe
in
if
time.
there's some
And-
money left over. Maybe.
Well, that's certainly a possibility, so.
I go to the football games and notice that a lot of people are standing, they don't
Yeah,
have
it's
enough.
packed.
Yeah,
Yes, it's bad.
especially a Huntingtown Northern game, yeah.
Yeah. Well, any of those,
Yeah.
I couldn't build one big
Yeah,
enough,
right.
quite frankly.
Okay.
I'm sorry, the broken record question again is, has the county or anybody from the environmental side of the state taken a look at how close we're getting to the,
Well, that's all part of the planning. Oh, my, yes.
that's already been done, or it has not yet been reviewed?
No, what we're dealing with now is all that'll be reviewed as the project begins to be developed.
Okay.
They're gonna be wanting to look at impervious surfaces, all those types
Well,
of
how
things.
close
We
we
know
are
what
to the
rules
line
are.
there.
Now, as far as wetlands, that's all been delineated. Forest retention, that's all been delineated. We did that by survey during the summer.
Okay, and so we are in compliance with all the different requirements out there
We would have to be,
from the wetlands?
yeah.
Okay.
But the design isn't finished, so I don't know where some of this goes yet.
That sewage treatment plant up there, is it still,
I have money
had a
to do
huge
it.
capacity to start
Well,
with.
actually, this would help it. The additional capacity would help that particular.
Yeah, it
plant.
needs it.
It needs it.
You could serve Dunkirk with that almost.
A good bit, yes. Yeah, it could handle quite a
There's
bit.
an idea.
So, and that's been our problem with that facility all
Charge it.
along, even with the campus there.
Yeah.
The two
Does not-
schools,
not
we're up
enough.
and down. You know,
I know.
we take a winter break and all of a sudden we lose the plant bugs, as they call it, and we've
Yep.
got to refurbish that, so.
Is there gonna be any additional parking at all at the school?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Double.
Lots
This-
On which side? If you pull into school, you talking about over to the left?
It's right.
Well, if you look
That's
at this
what they show.
drawing, you
That's where the new
have,
school's going.
you have Flint Hill Road coming
This is
down.
the
Yes.
old school.
In fact, I'll stand
Okay.
sort of
And
point.
so now you get all of this parking in there.
If you will, this is
Oh, he's
Flint
showing
Hill.
you.
And this is Cheneyville Road here. So there's considerable amount of parking here now for students and staff along with this area. And what we've done is both schools, in order to add the additional parking, the buses won't be lining up here per se. All of the buses, since this, all the kids are on the same bus with this particular arrangement, all the buses for the campus will be here. So we've taken advantage of that. But yeah, we've got more than enough parking, much better situation than we've had before. Unfortunately, we still dump on the Cheneyville Road, which
That's
goes
the
to
problem.
Route 4.
Yeah.
And those issues, I'm not so sure they ever
Be hard to solve
really
that.
get satisfied, because it's traffic congested at one particular point in time, and if you're heading for a doctor appointment right at that point in time, you've got yourself a little bit of a delay. But any other time, you're okay. So,
Okay.
all right, any other questions on Northern? The other projects, quite frankly, there's not anything really new to report on. That's Mutual Elementary School, the renovation, and Southern Middle School, the gym HVAC, they're both up at DGS in review. We expect Southern to be back to us here shortly, and Mutual probably about 3 weeks from now, if we're lucky. I never know sometimes when they're getting back
You
to
won't
us.
start that until when?
No, those are all summer projects.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that Mutual Elementary School, because of the fire suppression system, I actually have to build an outbuilding. That actually affords me, if I can convince staff that it's okay for me to start construction. I may begin that, because if I get that done, I'm that much closer on opening day to have the fire suppression system in place when we're done with the stuff. We've worked it out with the fire marshal. If I wasn't, we'd have a watch, so on and so forth. He understands the project. He's absolutely ecstatic we're getting the fire suppression. So. And then the Huntingtown High School project, that's under design right now, and particular
Is
items.
that going okay? I mean, no problems there?
Not at the moment, but again, once they get into design, on-site work, so on and so forth, isn't an issue. It's more or less getting there and what rights of way we may need to secure if in fact we can't stay within right of way that currently
We're not
exists.
going to get another curveball there, are we?
Well, I would hope, well, not from the state, I hope. As long as we're making permit, we're okay on that end of it, so.
And we have to pay for any additional right-of-ways that we need?
Yes.
We did take care of the fine on that.
We did. That's been paid and done.
Very good.
One other quick note, if you happen to follow the county commissioner's website in the planning and zoning section, the adequate public facility ordinance, the fall rendition is out. We don't author this, but we provide them with what our enrollments were at the starting day, so on and so forth at the time. Fall report indicates actually that there's really no new change to the schools that have been closed in the past. It's all the same. That happens to be Beach Elementary School, Northern Middle School, and Northern High School. Huntingtown High School dropped a couple more percentage points. They're actually 94% now. Remember, they used to be over 100% just a year or two ago. Mount Harmony Elementary School just always hovers at 99 point something. And, but that really doesn't have an impact on the community. It closes that district to development, but quite frankly, it would have been anyway because it's in Northern High School's zone and Northern Middle School zone. So that whole area up there is looking for relief.
How many years has it been closed?
I'm not even going to venture a guess. I would almost have to go back and look at that, but boy, it's been quite a while.
So,
Easily 6-7 years.
Which is the limit that we're allowed to do that? Is
Well,
that correct?
if you happen to have a development on the books about 7 years ago, you would probably be able to begin to secure your permits. That's how that sort of works. You're absolutely right.
That's a good point. You're right.
Yeah, we can't build Northern fast enough.
But we're going to build it a little faster.
Get the whip on them.
There you go. Actually, by the time we get to the point where it opens, the commissioners will probably look at that. And that would release areas up there that aren't closed to development, quite frankly. Now, Northern Middle School seems to be a problem, but again, those boundaries are a little bit different, so it could have an impact here and there.
Okay. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, George.
Thank you, George.
Doing a good job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Policies for approval.
The first policy for approval,
Only one, right?
pardon?
Only one?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only one, and it's the policy statement 1320, administration of the Board of Ed regarding permitting superintendent to act for the board. There was no public comments received, so I'm recommending approval as written.
Were there any
Sup-
changes to it?
No.
No changes?
Superintendent recommends. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion?
Mr. McConkey makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. Belinsky seconds. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
There are two policies for review. The first is policy statement 1310 regarding development of competitive grants and applications. Staff has not changed any of the policy at all, and it will go for 30 days for public comment.
Okay.
One of the things I noticed is that in the procedures, there's a specific title of who, or maybe it may not be this policy, but maybe the next one that we're going to review. Anyway, there was a specific title like Deputy Superintendent of so and so. And so I think we should just start to be very generic now, since we have changed executive
Correct.
team titles and the like. But
It's good.
I would love to say in this grant writing policy that it is our policy to keep a dedicated grant writer on staff.
But
We've tried that many times, haven't we? But
Yes.
You have the money?
they pay for themselves, but it's difficult to prove that, especially.
I'm just harassing you.
I know. There's a time lag between when you bring someone on and when they can really start producing, but
No, you're
there's
right.
so
You're
much
right.
money.
We
Good grant writer
did,
can-
we did at one point have somebody, and then for budgetary reasons, we don't have that. I will say, there are certain departments that really, they're very good.
They're very good at-
at writing grants, so.
I mean,
Yeah, we have some
we
people
know
who
of
write
several
grants.
teachers that are out there writing
Sure.
grants and have been very successful.
Sure.
Correct.
And I hate that they're all there out there by themselves, but it's tough to justify it sometimes.
I
Okay.
agree. The second policy for review is the Board of Education regarding acceptable use of computer systems and other electric communication media. The staff had a very long discussion on this. They felt that the policy itself was fine. They wanted to work on changing procedures, that there were some procedures that they thought needed to be updated, so that was more clarification.
I'd like to propose that we change the title by deleting the word acceptable and replacing it with